Hey everybody. Just wanted to do a commentary. I love doing these. I love doing commentaries. This will probably be the more regular thing that you see from me is commentaries. If you've not watched any of my stuff before, it used to be montages, then it got to commentaries because commentaries are just my thing. I love talking. I love that communication with the community because I love the community in general. So commentaries are a very nice thing for me to do. But one thing I definitely want to say first before this video goes anywhere else is Harceru. You all know who he is. If you know who I am, you know who Harceru is. Easy. Um, he informed me that he's applying for the partnership program that YouTube offer. So I want everybody that watches this video to, before you watch the video, if you're not subscribed to Harce, you need to go over there and you need to subscribe to my boy. So make sure you do that and show him love. Show him love because he loves doing this as much as you love watching his videos. So please make sure you go over there. If you're not subbed to him, make sure you do. You will learn a lot. Very exciting. His gameplay is exciting. If there's anything I can say about his gameplay, it's exciting. But yeah, Harceru, make sure you go over there. Right, now that the paid promotion is out of the way, let's get on to talking about some of the things I wanted to talk about in the video. First thing I want to talk about is cold. Believe it or not, cold. The status of the infuse thing, cold. It's pretty fucking goated. I first saw Check use it. Check uploaded a video called I think it's called like Frostbite Meta or something. And I was watching the video and I was like, damn, that is kind of fucking cracked. So I tried it myself. I put it on these weapons. I saw Jeenine use this. I won't cap. I saw Jeenine use these, and I thought, damn, that's also pretty cracked. So I thought, why not put two cracked things together and see if it's cracked? And it is. It's really, really good. Um, these weapons, I forget what the other one. I'm just gonna call it the Nagi because I'm not gonna even try to pronounce what it is actually called. So it's gonna be called the Nagi. Nagi and Pike. Oh, crazy. Oh, they're so good. The pokes remind me so much of Gotthard from Dark Souls 3. It's got that same kind of speed, that range that you don't expect from them either, which I think is mainly helped by Pike, because Pike is definitely longer. Also, you're probably going to notice in the video, there's like weird skips in the video, and I'm not sure what has happened. I've re-edited the video like 3 times and it's still doing these skips. I will try to make sure it doesn't happen again in the next video, but you might see like 1, 2, 3 skips in the video. I do apologise. But anyway, yeah, so I saw Check using Frostbite and I saw Jeenine using this Pike Nagi setup. Um, and so I was using it in Invasions, and you get a large AR fall off with Frostbite. When you make things cold, when you infuse it with cold, you lose a bit of AR. But what it gives you is essentially a much better, more power. Look at that! I hit him with Hoarfrost once, like just the tick of Hoarfrost, and the next L1, sorry, it frostbit him instantly, and he took burst damage. And that's what cold does. It's a faster proccing bleed, essentially. Um, it can be rolled, I believe. I'm not 100% on that. I'm like 80% sure that it can be rolled, but even if you roll it, it stuns you. Off proc, it stuns you. And the reason why I personally think it's better than bleed, I believe it to be the new bleed, is two really big reasons. It essentially does the same thing as bleed overall. However, the thing that makes it stand out is the build up is extremely fast. It's way faster than bleed. You frostbite somebody way quicker than you will bleed somebody. And another thing that, in my opinion, it makes it just undoubtedly better is bleed will gradually go away at quite a quick rate. Frostbite really lingers on your status bar. It takes forever to go away. So if you get hit with Hoarfrost, which I'm going to talk about Hoarfrost a little bit more in this video, because you're going to see me use it a lot, like a shit ton. It takes so long to go away. So if you get hit with Hoarfrost, or even an L1, which the L1 of this weapon is very quick. It's very quick. So if you get hit with one of those, your status bar is not going away for quite a lengthy amount of time. I don't know what to think about it. Like, do I think it needs adjusting? I don't know. Because I've only really fought, PvEs with it. I've not fought like great players with this setup at all. I only really started using it like yesterday. But my goodness, it's powerful. It's the most success I've had in ganking situations, which is the majority of situations you find yourself in when doing these invasions, because obviously you have to use a finger remedy, and typically if people are using that, they're summoning white phantoms. But I went from having very low success rate to winning like 90% of my invasions just with this setup. Very little stat investment. You'll see my build at the end of this video, and I'm going to talk about meta once again in the video, but we'll get to that later. But I don't believe you're going to need much in the way of stats, because it's not the AR of your weapon that you are looking for. You're looking at the status proc. I'm not looking to hit you for 700, but if you get status, it's gonna hit you for 1,000. It's the whole point of cold. But shout out to Check. I need to make sure, because I do not like taking credit away from people. I believe that there are some brilliant minds in this community, and there always has been, and people need to understand that, the meta comes from more than just one or two people. It comes from a community effort. So shout out to Check for uploading a video on this. I'll make sure he's in the description. And shout out to Jeenine for this specific weapon setup that I'm using. I just popped into his stream for a few minutes and saw that he was using it, and thought it looked really fun. So yeah. The next thing I want to talk about is Hoarfrost Stomp. You've all seen this one. It's not a stranger to anybody. You have seen this used in almost every invasion, in almost every duel you've found yourself in. You've seen this. It is, in my opinion, the best Ash of War for 3v, 2v1 situations. The crowd control that it gives you is insane, because most PvEers are looking to just straight tunnel you. Because in this game, if you get blended, it's harder to get out of. It doesn't seem like in Dark Souls 3, when you were getting blended, there was a certain amount of hits that you could take before you were just able to roll out of it. Multiple times in this game, I have been stun locked to death by being hit by multiple phantoms. I don't believe that mechanic in Dark Souls 3 that I've just mentioned is in this game. If it is, then please correct me. I don't get everything right all the time. So if that isn't the case, then please let me know. But Hoarfrost, especially with cold, it makes cold proc insanely quick. Frostbite, it makes it proc insanely fast, but its crowd control potential is really, really good. If phantoms are healing as well, if you manage to catch a phantom healing, and you cast Hoarfrost Stomp by the time that they are going to take a sip of the flask, it's very likely you are hitting them again for 1,000 damage. So the heal isn't really all that worth it. It makes it very hard and unsafe for the host and white to just heal straight away. Look at that. That's insane. He took a tiny tick off of Hoarfrost, and the next hit killed him for like 2,000 damage. This stuff is insane. Shout out to Czech, bro. Demon. But yeah, Hoarfrost, I think is the Ash of War for ganking situations. Um, it's good in 1v1s as well. I'm not trying to say it's restricted to just ganking situations. It's really good in 1v1s. However, I have found that if you're up against somebody that is using Hoarfrost Stomp, uh, its recovery is very long. It has a very long recovery. Once you've casted Hoarfrost Stomp, you're kind of locked in that animation for a little bit. So the easiest counter I have found to Hoarfrost is being up close to the person that is doing it, because Hoarfrost really hurts when you're at a distance, because you've got such a long like blast radius to account for and dodge. Whereas if you're right up close to them, you really only take that little tiny bit of damage. That's like, it's only like 140 something. You take that little bit of damage, but they are completely vulnerable to being punished once they have casted it, because the explosion isn't what's going to hit you. It's going to be the little tick at the start. So it's good if you're going against somebody using Hoarfrost, it's good to be up close to them. Simply because if they do use it and you are up close, you are completely on the side to be able to punish them. The next thing I want to talk about has been pissing me off for like the past 2 days. Can we please, and this is going to take the effort of everybody, can we please stop using the first steps grace to PvP? Dueling, essentially. This shit reminds me of like Iron Keep Bridge, which is where everybody flooded to when Dark Souls 2 came out, right? Everybody was flooding to Iron Keep and the arena. The arena, obviously, you know, it's a PvP arena, but you guys are PvPing in the worst fucking spot, and I don't even think you realise. I understand to a point, because you know the game is still super fresh, the world is so huge, there's actually so many potential spots that it's so hard to choose one, and the fact that there is a summoning pool right next to the grace point is why I think it's so popular. But I also think there's a hint of laziness there from the community, because my goodness, there is just infinite amounts of space for somebody to run away from you in a fight. You cannot really apply any pressure on somebody at the first steps grace point where you guys have been fighting. So if you've been fighting there, you've probably come across this specific situation. If you're fighting somebody good and they want to win, it is not unheard of, and it's not unlikely for them to use that entire space to run around in. And you're probably thinking, well, of course you're going to use the area available to you to run around in. That's, you know, the point of having the area. That's all well and good when eventually the area has a cut-off point, when it has walls, okay? If you are PvPing in a infinite space, almost, there is nothing stopping the person from just running from you. Like, it doesn't let you condition the person that you're fighting. There is no room for them to mess up, because they can simply omni run away from you, okay? Let's take Dark Souls 1 Berg, for example. You have a lot of space in Berg. Berg made it so that like you could use any build in Berg. However, you had to be aware of you had to be like situationally aware, and you had to be aware of your surroundings. Am I putting myself in a corner? If I put myself at this wall and I dodge left, he might also try to catch my my roll with a BS. You know, these things are completely thrown out of the window when you choose to PvP in an area that is essentially a Tekken Infinite stage. If you've ever played Tekken or watched Tekken, you know that in a set, you are allowed a stage switch, right? And fighting game players will use that opportunity to essentially nerf a character that has good wall combo potential, right? Here I go again, comparing the Souls franchise to fighting games. But listen, okay, you would do that. So Akuma has crazy wall combos. A good way to fuck with Akuma players and their play style is to choose an infinite stage because he has no wall pressure. You essentially take away all of his wall combos, right? It's kind of the same thing. If you're going against an S-Stock turtle and that S-Stock turtle has infinite ways to run away from you, you're shooting yourself in the foot and you are all PvPing there. It's so bad. We need to find areas to PvP in. I know it's hard. This game is fucking huge. So, I am not a kind of person that is going to bring up an issue and just moan about it. That's not me. That's not what I want to do. I want to do as much to help the community when I bring up issues, right? So the next video, the next two videos, one is going to be areas that I think are good for PvP, that are not only good for PvP but they're convenient for the community to use. You know, it's not too out of the way. I will try to keep them relatively early game so that you don't have to go into New Game Plus, you know, if you've gone a certain point in the story. And another video is going to be Poise Part 2. I said that the Poise video was like Part 1. It doesn't say that in the title, but I believe I mentioned it somewhere. Poise Part 2 is coming out because there is so much, bro. There are so many weapons in this game and they all have different poise breaks, but well, not all of them, some of them share poise breaks, and you have no idea how happy I am when I find out that some of them share poise breaks. Oh my god. But yeah, Poise Part 2 is coming out. I definitely want to get that out there for the community because it is an essential mechanic. I feel it's going to play the same way it did in Dark Souls 3, in that it's going to add that little bit of extra depth because you have to account for somebody's poise. It's definitely not going to be as powerful as Dark Souls 3. Not Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 1. It's definitely not going to be as powerful as that because the breakpoints are a lot higher. But I still believe it is going to add that little bit of extra depth. So that video is definitely coming out. You can probably expect it if I can get somebody with me, because I know Harceru is busy. He is usually the one that helps me with all the testing. He's going to be very busy. So if I can get somebody to replace him, then it should be out Monday. If not Monday, you can probably expect it within the next 2 weeks, probably. But yeah. Next, I just want to talk about how much I actually am loving this game. I love the release PvP is always the best in my opinion. It's when everything is just so crazy good, and there's no established, you know, what is 100% going to be meta, because there's just so much things to experiment with. You know, the PvP of release Souls, as broken as it is, trust me, you will always talk about these moments, I promise you. You will always remember how busted, you know, Barricade Shield was, or how annoying Bloodhound Step is, or how powerful Hoarfrost Stomp is, so on and so on. You'll remember getting beamed by the Erdtree Shield. You'll remember getting instantly cursed or death blighted or whatever it's called. You will remember these moments. So, as infuriating as it might be, trust me, these will be good memories, I promise you. The game overall is just so brilliant. You always expect this from IPs, like new IPs, because they get full creative like control. Not that they don't always have that control. But when given a new project, they always hit. They have never missed with a new project. This, I haven't felt this way about a Souls game since Dark Souls 1, honestly. Like, it's just so beautifully crafted. There's so much love and there's so much care and there's so much little details that I love. I was playing the game and I used a bloody finger, right? And I noticed that when I used the bloody finger, your character is holding in his hand a little tiny finger with a ring on it. And I love that. I love the little details that From will put in these new IPs. It's the same with Bloodborne. Bloodborne has got so many beautiful little details that are there for you to discover. Um, so much love and passion goes into these new IPs, and like I said, you will remember these moments more than anything. Not just PvP, PvE wise, you'll remember your first playthroughs, especially like there are so many people out there that this will be their first Souls game, and I'm so happy that this is going to be one of their first Souls games. In a way, I'm jealous. Like, it's so brilliant. Um, From really showed that they were holding back this whole time. I said this to one of my friends, and in a way, I kind of wish I'd worded it a little bit better, but here I am today and I don't have any other words to describe it. It genuinely feels like From has been making us beta test all of their other games just for this. They, kept adding these new strange mechanics just so that they could put all of the best received stuff into one game. And it's Elden Ring. Yes, it's buggy, it's glitchy, but that is with every Souls release, because you have to remember it is balanced for PvE. It is not balanced for your PvP experience. Okay? I can't tell you how much I love this game. It's so much fun and I can't wait to see where it goes. I really can't wait. And now the last thing I want to speak about is the 120 to 135 meta. I had so many comments on the last video arguing for a meta increase. And it's very frustrating to see those comments because I will be honest with you, I was not expecting it. I was not expecting to receive so many comments arguing for a higher meta because I thought people would hear what I had to say and kind of get where I was coming from, because I'm not trying to brag or anything, it's not really something to brag about, but I've been playing these games since they came out. Other than Demon Souls, I was not there for the release of Demon Souls. I was there for the release of Dark Souls 1 and onwards. I've been playing these games like while you were still in your dad's sack. Like, I've been playing this game for a long time, this franchise for a long time, and people are clearly very new coming into this game, and they're seeing all of this crazy stuff that you could do, and they are very quick to call for more levels. I understand that, right? But you are all arguing for an SL meta increase, but missing the point of what meta is and what it eventually becomes, okay? I put out a tweet saying that most people that are talking about meta have no idea what they're talking about. And I know that sounds very offensive, I guess, but I'm sorry, I'm right when I say that there's a lot of people right now talking about meta and they have no idea. You know, again, it's the same people that do not partake in meta PvP. They don't do that. They will typically stick at low level PvP so that they can, you know, get good content for their streams, their videos, all this sort of stuff. They do not partake in the meta community. They have nothing to do with it. Yet they will sit there and they'll tell you that the meta needs an increase. I believe the meta needs an increase. Things just do too much damage. We need more HP. We need more physical defense. We need all this stuff. We need to be able to hit the hard soft caps. It's never been about that. It has never been about that. It has always been about two things. Two essential things needed to keep these games fun, replayable, and I'm gonna say fair, because it reaches a certain point where you are killing variety for the sake of wanting to just have everything in your arsenal. But here's the thing, you can have these things that you want in your arsenal, and I put my build here just to show you that you don't need anything else. Okay, here's the thing, I've hit a soft cap, which, by the way, you'll probably notice this is not min-maxed at all. I could have easily gone with 55 dexterity and let the prisoner's chain do the rest, right? It's not min-maxed whatsoever. Same with my vigor. I don't need that much vigor. I've got 2000 HP. I've hit a soft cap, let's say. The only real issue you might find is my poise. But here's the thing. That's called sacrifice. When you're making a build, so right now I've made a build that does insane damage, but you can probably stun me with anything that you want. So I'm forced to play more careful for my damage. That's the point of having a meta. You don't need everything. You do not need this, because the other thing that is very important, I said there was two things. One is variety. The other thing is, eventually, once the meta gets established, you will see people make builds around that meta. You know, they will make things around the stuff in the game that is good to use. Now, this doesn't mean you have to use that stuff. I had somebody comment on my previous video listing a bunch of stuff that they had found that was like over the 50, 60, 70 int threshold, right? And I don't know what they were expecting me to say, but it's as simple as, you can use those things. You can by all means use those things, but it doesn't mean that just because you want to use those specific things that you need to over level so that you can have everything else. That is not how the meta works, and that ultimately kills build variety completely. But that is pretty much all I wanted to say. I'm probably going to talk about meta for the next fucking few weeks, honestly. But I hope you all enjoyed. I know that this video was a bit all over the place, but I'll try to make the next one better. I just really wanted to get a few points out there. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll link everybody in the description. Thank you. If I forget, crucify me later. Anyway, bye-bye. Have a good night.